Hello, and welcome to Harriet's Custom Computer Art Plus. I first want to say thank you to everyone who has subscribed to my channel. I truly appreciate it, and hopefully you'll find something in the tutorials that'll help you in your business or just on your own endeavors to make items for your family and friends. Tonight I'm going to be showing you how to easily change the skin tone on graphics or clip art graphics. This is a unicorn girl that one of my customers wanted me to change this to a darker complexion with curly black hair and to add pajamas because it's for a sleepover pajama party. So I'll show you how easy it is to do that using Picture It. Now if you look up close at this picture that she had on a coloring page, you'll see that it's not very clear, and you could see that it is not high res. It's not high resolution, and so I wanted to make sure that it looked good when it was printed. So what I did was pretty much make the doll over and just use certain parts of her that I could make clearer and also make more sharp. So first of all, she wanted the doll wearing pajamas. So I googled clip art pajamas and I came up with this one. So I'll drag this up from the bottom into my picture. And as you can see, it also had the light skin tone, and the customer wanted a darker skin tone. So I'm going to resize this a bit. So what I started out doing, but she really liked the head or the face on this doll, so I needed to keep the look of this doll. So all I did was go to cut out in picture, cut out of picture by tracing on my own, and the first thing I needed was to add the neck. So I'm just going to cut the neck off of this picture and add it to the pajamas. And all you do is wherever you click, it will make a line for you. It will make lines or curves. If you wanted to make a straight line, you just click and drag to make a straight line. But if you're going around curves, you'll have to click at each area as it curves, just like I did. And you'll see now when I hit the yellow flag, it shows the part that I'm cutting out in bold, and everything else is kind of whited out, and that's the shape I'm going to work with. So I'm going to click done, and now I can just pull that neck over to this doll, but I'm going to take it down one layer so it'll be underneath, just like that. So when I add my new head, or the doll's new head, then it will look like this is all blending in together. So I'm just going to position that where it will look like it belongs. Just play with it a little bit until I get it. I think that will work. So now I want to make a head for this doll. So I'm going to go to cut out in picture, add a colored shape, and you're not seeing this menu, but the third choice at the top is add a colored shape. You're going to click that, and then I'm going to resize it to the size of her head. Or a head size. They have super big heads, so I'm going to still make a pretty big size head. That should do it. And I'm going to click done. And then I'm going to change this in coloring. I'm going to go to paint and color effects. This time I'm going to go to fill with a solid color, and I'm going to click on this skin because right now I just want to get everything in about the same shade so that I can change it all at one time. Now also you can see this one has an outline, a black outline around it, and when I found these pajamas, I also put a black outline around this doll so that it would blend in with the rest of the parts of the body, the little unicorn hat and all that. So I wanted to keep those thick borders around the picture. So I will go to here to Edge Effect, Highlight Edges, and then I'm going to click on, this would be the fourth one. You have the X here. This puts a shadow behind the picture. This puts a shadow on the edge of the picture, and it's more bold. And so that's the one I want to go with. I'm going to change it to black. And right here, I can change the thickness and thinness of the picture. So I want it to line up with the thickness I have on the body. So I'm just going to pull this over a little bit, or you can go up and down to fine tune with these two sliders, and it will adjust it to exactly the thickness you want. Looks like it needs maybe a little bit more. That should do it. Okay. Now before I added this, I wanted to give my doll a little chin, but I guess I won't. I did put a chin on the other one, and all I did was make a smaller circle and just fit it right here to make a chin for the doll, and you'll see that on the I'll show you the final completed invitation at the end of this video. So now I have her head, her legs. I'm gonna move this up a bit so that her slippers won't be cut off. And I'm gonna group this. All I did was drag from the top, put all the pictures together, and hit the button to group it. So I'm gonna zoom in now and work on the face. First I'm gonna change the color. Let's change the color, and then we can work on the face. So I'm gonna go to cutout and picture, cut out of picture by color selection. It gives me the dropper. I'm going to drop this down to 1, and I'm going to just take out the color of her skin. I'm going to keep clicking in any area that still shows some of her skin because I want to change it all at one time. So I'm going to go over to this foot. Now I'm going to go to her arms, and I'm going to drag it until it picks up all of her skin color. Might zoom in a little bit more. Try to make sure you're not clicking on the black. If you accidentally click on a color that you didn't mean to include, like if I clicked here, all you do before you do anything else is just come over here and click undo your last action. Click that and it'll take it out. And sometimes you might have to touch these areas up that you had chosen again, but it will back out of your last mistake when you clicked in the wrong area. So I'm just making sure I have all the areas of her skin included in this. I'm going to get this area as well, her neck, and anything I need to fine tune, I can always go back in with the clone painter and fix any area that might need some little adjusting, like right here. I'll probably come back in and adjust that, but it probably won't show that much once we're done. And of course I can't forget her big head. So I'm going to click next and done once I see that I have all the parts that I want. And I do have all those parts. And now I'm just going to start. I'm going to go to Paint and Color Effects, change color, and I'm just going to start clicking the down arrow on the brightness slider until I get her to a color that is closer to the skin tone of the young lady that I'm making these for. Now you can see it's looking a little grayish, and all you need to do is come over to this wheel here, and you see the outer ball. I'm just going to take it toward red or orange, and it will add some reddish tones to the skin. Then I'm going to go down here to color saturation, which is the blue paint, uh, the paint splash, and I'm just going to click up, and it's going to give it more color as I click up. And you see it now coming into more of a skin tone, of a natural skin tone, as opposed to that grayish look. So I think that's pretty good right there. I'll make it a little darker. And then give it a little more color saturation to make it look more like a regular skin tone. And you just adjust this just by looking at it. You'll notice, you'll be able to see the difference and how it changes as you click on those little sliders. So now I want this area to look a little better on her neck. So I'm going to use clone paint for that. And I'm just going to go here to touch up. The last choice, or the 9th box, is clone paint, which will be here, that you're not seeing, but when you click on touch up, you'll see this menu, and it's a tiger's head, and it says clone painting underneath it. You're gonna click that. Then this lets you choose which size brush you want to use. So I want to get in this small area around her neck, so I clicked on the 3rd ball, and it's perfect. I'll zoom in a little bit so you can see it. And now I'm just going to click where I want to draw the color from, and then I'm just going to draw that in so that it looks like a continuous picture. Just going to continue coloring in her neck here. And once again, if you make a mistake and happen to hit an area you didn't mean to hit, you have once again the undo your last action, and you just click on this little box and it will delete the last action you made. So as soon as you see you've made a mistake, just look for that delete or undo last action button so that you can correct it before you go any further. So each time you want to move to a new area, you want to click the flag. It'll turn yellow, and once it turns yellow, you can move to another area that you want to use to clone. The first time you click, it puts a plus in the area you're going to use to fill in the area you want to clone. Then the next time you click, it spaces that it's actually a plus sign. It spaces the plus sign away from the circle, and the circle area is where the changes will take place on your picture. So I'm going to do this a couple of times just so I can get all of this area, and that looks pretty good. I'm going to zoom out, and that's coming along. So now she needs some ears, and all I did was I took one ear from this little unicorn doll. I'm going to go here to cut out of picture with a cookie cutter shape. I'm going to choose a circle, and I'm just going to shrink that circle down, bring it over to her ear, and I want to keep that little black edge to it because that's what it's going to be around this whole little doll that I'm creating. And you can reshape the circle by moving any one of these little quadrant markers around the edge, is what I call them. And I'm going to go ahead and click next and done. So I have one ear. I'm going to shrink it down. So actually I'm going to make it big so I can change the color in it. So I'm going to go to cut out of picture by color selection, and I get my dropper again. I think I'll leave it on 2 and see if that will work. because I just want the part that's the skin tone. So I'm just dragging this in this area for the skin tone. Anywhere I see the skin tone, that's where I'm going to drag it. Okay, that's all I need. Now I'm going to hit done, and while this is still chosen, I'm just going to change it to the color of her head by going to Paint and Color Effects, Fill with a solid color, and then I'm just going to click anywhere in her head or in her arm and pick up some color just like there, and I'm going to hit done. So now I'm going to cut this out so that it will keep the pieces together, because right now these are 2 layers. I can show you it's 2 layers, but I want to join it. So to join it and make it just one picture, you go to cut out and picture, cut out of picture with a cookie cutter shape, and it doesn't matter, you can use a square or a circle because the background, there is no background. This is like an SVG but without the gray and white checkerboard background. So I'm just going to make a square around there, hit next and done, and now I have the ear, and I'm going to get rid of this one with the 2 pieces, and you can see it's more than one piece because it has the puzzle piece to join it. But if I click on this one, it's just one solid picture. So I'm going to delete this by dragging across it until I have both pieces and then hit delete. Now I need to shrink this ear down, make it about the size it was on her head, and I'm going to bring it over to my doll, and I'm going to drag it down until I'm underneath her head. Move it over, and there's her ear. I can make it lower like on this doll. Then I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to click on that ear, copy, paste, and I'm going to pull it over here to try to make sure that they're both about the same size. And then I'm going to go, because I needed to flip to put it on this side, so I'm going to go to Size and Position, Flip, Mirrored, hit Done, and now I'm going to drag this ear on this side. I'm going to go here in the layers, and I'm going to drag that ear also down underneath the head and body. Now I'm going to move it over. And this is also showing you how to make graphics. If you can't find the graphic you want, you can make it yourself by doing what I'm doing now. Next, I think this here is a little higher. Next, her eyes. I can actually use her eyes because I can sharpen these, and because it's black, I'll be able to sharpen it pretty well, whereas if I was using some of these other areas, they would still look low res. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take a circle, go to cut out and picture, cut out of picture with the cookie cutter shape. I'm going to choose a circle, and I'm just going to shrink this down, drag it over her eye. I think this eye is more round, so I think I'm going to go with this one. And I'm just going to flatten it out a little bit and just try to get it so that it's inside of all of the black. I don't want to catch any of the color of her face. I just want the eye. So I'm going to hit next and done. And actually it looks pretty good just like it is, but what I did was I changed the blue of her eyes to brown. So, and I have a little bit of, I see a little bit of the pink on there. So I'm going to recut that by going once again to cut out in picture with the cookie cutter shape. It's already a circle, and I'm just going to bring this down, resize it, but make sure that I'm leaving out that color of her skin. So right there and about right there, I'm going to hit next and done. I'm going to move this one out. I'm going to delete this one. So now I'm going to change this blue to brown by going to cut out in picture, cut out of picture, with by color selection this time, and I'm just going to click in those areas that appear blue, and it's okay that it picked that up too, because once it's small, it's going to look just fine. So I'm going to hit next and done, and now I'm going to go into I think I'm going to go and first go to black and white. So you go to paint and color effect. While I still have this chosen, the blue portion of the eye, I'm going to go to paint and color effects, make black and white. And the reason why I'm doing this is if I took it to brown or tried to make it brown the way it was, it would have been a weird combination of the blue and the brown. But to get the true color, if you're changing something like this, to get the true color, you want to first go to paint and color effects, make it black and white, which is the last choice in the menu. And once it makes it black and white, now we're going to go up to touch up, correct tint, which is the third choice at the top. It's a lion where half his head is yellow and half his head is orange. It's the third choice. Click that. And then I'm going to bring this over a little bit, and you see it makes it look red. And to make it brown, I'm going to drag it toward the orange. And then I'm going to hit done. Now I'm going to go into change color, and I'm going to darken it to a little darker brown. And I'm just eyeballing this once again. It doesn't take a lot of precision. You just click until it gets to the color you want. So once again, I'm going to go to cut out, and I'm going to cut that one out so that it'll just be one picture, and I won't have to worry about joining them or accidentally moving that piece that I cut out of alignment with the rest of the eye. I'm going to hit next. Now this one I guess is a little more advanced, but if you follow the directions as I'm giving them, you shouldn't have any problem. So now I have one eye and I need two, so I'm just going to do the same thing that I did with the ears. I'm going to hit not cut out. I already cut it out. I'm going to go to copy. Once you see the boxes around it, which means I've chosen it, and I hit copy. Now I'm going to hit paste. And I'm just going to put these together to make sure they're the same size. And make sure you check whenever you do that, because sometimes it makes it a little bigger than the original one. And this one I can see it's just a little bigger. But sometimes it's a much more noticeable change in size. So all you have to do is put them on top of each other to make sure that they're about the same size. And now they're about the same size. And I want to switch or flip this eye so that it will look like this eye. So once again, I've clicked on it and chosen it. I'm going to go to size and position, flip. Gonna hit mirrored, and now I have my second eye. So I want this doll to look as much like this one as I can, because that's what the customer wants. So I'm gonna move these eyes back over her face, because that will give me the same distance between them. If I didn't do that, it would change the look, because the more you put, the closer you put the eyes together, it will look different and in your the doll that I'm trying to make. So now I'm going to once again go to the edge outside of top left of the picture, drag down until I have both eyes, and I'm going to group them. Then I'm going to drag them over to my face, my doll's face, and I'm going to click from any corner. Don't click from the inside, because or the middle on either side. Always go from the corner, and it's going to keep the same proportions. And I'm just going to space them kind of like they are on the doll next, the doll that I'm copying. So that works. Now I need a mouth and I need the eyebrows. So this is one pretty decent eyebrow. Can't see that one. So I'm going to go to cut out in picture, cut out of picture by color selection. And I'm going to choose that black eyelash or brown. It's really black. It might have appeared brown, but it's black. And I'm just going to make sure I'm getting as much of it as possible because I want it to be a little thicker over here. I'm going to hit next and done. And once again, I'm going to make a duplicate of this. So while it's chosen, I'm going to click copy and then paste. I'm going to size them up, and I'm going to change the position again by going to size and position, flip, mirrored, and it will mirror that eyebrow. And I'm also going to change them both to black because it has a little brown in it. So I'm just going to click to join them. I didn't close them up, which is this way I can just change the color on each one, and I can still move them separately without having to cut them loose. So I'm going to go ahead over here to Paint and Color Effects. I'm going to click on Change Color, and then I'm just going to click in this black of her eye to make them solid black. I'm going to click Done. Now I'm going to take my eyebrows. Oops, I need to make them smaller. So if I want them exactly the same as over here, I could eyeball it, but I'm going to take these eyes back over here, and then I'll put the eyebrows, because I want to make this doll look just like this one with just different skin tone in here. So I'm going to put that eyebrow there, put this other eyebrow here, and then I'm going to group them all. So I have both eyebrows included in the eyes. I'm going to close the puzzle piece, and then I'm going to drag them over to my doll once again and resize. Okay, so now she has those big eyes just like the original doll. And I'm going to move these eyes down so that they're kind of by the ears. I think I made that eye a little too small, so I'm going to resize it a little bit by ungrouping and just resize it a little bit. There we go. And now this eyebrow will need to be changed a little, so I'm just going to bring it over some, just like that. Okay, so now I'm going to get her mouth by going to cut out a picture, cut out of picture, by color selection, and you see that I'm using the same functions over and over again, so that as you do these, you will become very familiar, and it will become second nature to you as well as it has for me. Now I'm going to, the mouth, I oversized it a little bit on the one, the doll that I made, so I'll do the same thing here, but I kind of turned it so it would have the smile turned up. So I made a few little changes to it, but it still turns out looking really good. Alright. So this is extended beyond just changing the color. This is showing you also how to create a graphic or a piece of clip art from using another clip art and finding other elements to add to it by Googling. So now she needs hair, and the client's daughter has curly hair, so I literally went to Google and I clicked to find curly black hair, and this is a literal hairpiece as you can see, of curly black hair, and that's what I'm going to use to make the hair of my doll. So all I did was first I cropped out the hair, and then once it was cropped out, I just drug it into my picture, and I started positioning it around her head to make her a curly hairstyle. I'll bring up another piece, and I'm going to flip this one like we've been doing. I'm going to go to where is it? Size and position, flip, mirror, and I'm going to make this side of the hair. I know right now she's looking like Dr. Phil, but we're going to fix that. I'm going to drag this up a bit, curve it, flatten it out a little bit, and then I'm going to bring up another piece. And I just kept adding pieces until it started to look like a regular doll with hair. Bring this down a little. I'm going to bring up another piece. I think I used about 6 pieces or more. And for this one, I wanted to mimic this little piece of her bang. So all I did for that was, since this had a curve on it already, I'm just going to bring that up like this, shrink it down some, and it's going to be the piece that makes her little bang here. And I'm just going to keep adding these little hair pieces until she looks like a full doll. Once again, and you'll start to see it coming together. I'm going to thin this one out because this is a little more straight, so I'm going to thin that out some. Bring that over. Bring this over a little more. And I'm just going to keep adding the hair pieces until I get it exactly like I want it. Let's see, position. I'm going to do another flip, make it mirrored. And I'm going to start making it look a little more neat. Thin some of them out. And I want this one, that's the one. Shrink that in some. Now one of these I'm going to put it behind her head so that it'll look like it's coming from behind. And I just played with it until I had it looking like regular hair. Bring up another piece from the bottom. I'm going to change the position by flipping and mirroring it. Done. This one I'm going to keep on top. Flatten it out some. So it doesn't look too boofy. And I'm going to bring up a couple more pieces just to fill in these areas, but they're going to go behind her head. They'll go behind the head so that they will fill in those areas and make it look like the hair is coming from behind the head. So once again, I'm going to size and position, flip, and I'm going to mirror. I only needed to mirror one of those. Let me cancel that. I just need to mirror one, so I'm going to go to size and position, flip, mirror, and then I'm going to bring both of them behind the head, and these should be the last 2 pieces that I need to make up the hair. And I left a little hair showing so that it looks like kind of natural hair. How hair would naturally look, because everybody's hair is not hanging exactly perfect. So I left a few strands and a few spots so it looked like it was more natural. I can shape it up a little more. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. So now I'm going to bring up a unicorn hat because she wanted the doll to have on the unicorn hat. So I had a unicorn hat on this one, or headband. So I'll bring up the unicorn headband and I'm going to size it to her head, shrink it down some, and put it on her head like that. And then I cut out these little strips so that I could put them on the side of my doll to make it look like it was sticking inside of her hair as well. So I'm going to go once again to cut out in picture, cut out of picture by color. And I'm going to take this down to 0, and I'm just going to drag in that white area. Do the same thing on this side so that I'm getting all of that little headband. I'm just being careful so that I don't pick up any of the other colors. And I'm going to hit next and done. And now I can just drag that layer over here to my doll's head. I need to shrink them down some. And I'm going to make them completely white so they'll show up better. And now it looks like she's wearing a headband. Now, since the rest of this had the outline, I wanted her unicorn hat to have an outline as well. So let me group this. And I'm going to bring it down some so that I can see the whole thing. I'm going to ungroup it because I just want to use the unicorn right here, the unicorn headband. So I'm going to go to Edge Effect because I want to add that black edge to it like the rest of the doll. I'm going to click on Highlight Edge, which is the first choice. I'm going to click on the thick outline again. Then I'm going to go to Customize the Edge. I'm going to bring it down so that it looks like it's the thickness of the rest of her body that's on the rest of her body, and I'm going to change it to black and hit done. And last but not least, my customer wanted a cupcake on the invitation. So I found this cupcake. I'm going to go to cut out in picture, cut out of picture by color selection, and I'm going to just remove this white edge. I'm going to hit next, and you see it whited out the cupcake, but I want the cupcake. That's the part of the cutout I want. So I'm going to click here on select opposite area. And this is the way I do it if there's a background that's a solid color, and it will be easier to cut out the background rather than clicking on all the parts of the picture that I actually want. If it's a solid background, just choose the background. Then once you hit next, you have the option select opposite area. So I'm going to click select the opposite area, and now you can see the part that I want it to cut out is in bold. I'm going to hit done. And now I'm going to delete the picture underneath the cupcake that I don't want anymore. And I'm just going to cut this piece out by itself by going to cut out a picture with a cookie cutter shape. Or I can choose by tracing on my own to make sure that I don't have any of that square edge back on. And as long as I cut close to the cupcake, I won't have any of that edge left. Any of the white edge. So now that I've cut that white edge out, and I'll show you, I cut it out by pulling this over. You see now it doesn't have the white edge like the first one did. I'm going to delete that. Alright, so now I'm going to go back to the picture of my little girl or doll, zoom in a little bit, and you could see all the layers on the side. Sometimes it takes a bit of time to make the perfect graphic, but I don't mind putting in the time because I want it to look perfect. Alright, so now I have the cupcake, and her favorite colors are blue, pink, and purple. And so I'm going to change this cupcake to match the blue and purple. She has the pink in the ears. So I'm going to go to cut out in picture, cut out of picture by color selection. And I'm going to choose each piece of this. I click just in the top layer of the cupcake. I'm going to hit next and done. Now this time I'm going to do the same thing, but I'm going to hit the next portion of the cupcake, cut out in picture, cut out of picture by color selection, and I'm going to get that portion, hit next and done. I'm going to do it again, cut out in picture, cut out of picture by color selection, and I'm going to do this until I have every section of the cupcake cut out, and I'm just going to change their colors. So first I'm going to make the portion that's chosen, the cupcake. I'm going to change that to, I think I'll use some of the brown in her hair. This one, the brown in her hair a little bit, and darken it a bit to make it look more like a cupcake. I'm going to click on each of these colors and change them. Alright, so now that it's saved, I'll continue. I'm going to go to Paint and Color Effects, and I'm just going to choose colors out of her clothing. I'll make each layer a different color. Make this one like a light pink, and then I'll put in the purple as the last one, I think. Well, I have two, so I'll do purple, do the light purple, and then the last little piece right here, zoom in so I can get it. This last little piece I'll make green, so it's matching her pajamas. There. Alright, so now I'm going to do that cutout again to make this one picture instead of all the layers. So I'm going to go to cut out a picture with a cookie cutter shape, and I'll take a square so I can make it fast. Alright, hit next and done. Drag that over, and then I'm just going to group all of these and hit delete. So now I just have one cupcake, and I'm going to shrink this down and put it on her shirt. And I'm going to also add the thickness of the outline I put on her to the cupcake. I'm going to go to Edge Effects, Highlight Edge, click on the thick edge, and then I'm going to change it to black and resize it a little bit until it's the same as her outline. And that way it makes it instead of it making it look like I just put all these things together, it makes it look like they actually belong in one picture. And there you have it. So now I have the perfect graphic for the invitation that I'm making for the sleepover spa party, and I will show you the finished invitation at the end of this video. But first I want to say thank you very much for watching. Feel free to share this with any and everyone, and if you like this video, don't forget to hit the like button, and if you'd like to be notified the minute I get up new videos, hit the bell and you will be notified as soon as I upload. I will be uploading how I made the rest of the sleepover party invitation. I've gotten quite a few requests from people that want to know how to make more invitations, so I will be making the rest of the slumber party invitation, and I will be uploading that to show you how to make your own. Thank you, and I'll see you next time on Harriet's Custom Computer Art Plus.